It's Thanksgiving Day, 2023. I'm out here in my little shop in Harrison, Tennessee, and I've got a project going on here that I'm in the middle of, and I didn't really intend to make a video of it, and I'm just going to video a portion of it, but I've shown some of this stuff before, removing the neck and so forth, and some of the things that I've done, and I don't want to repeat all that stuff, but I bought this guitar the other day. It was on the internet, and I bought it. It's a wide-bodied Harmony Sovereign, but it's wide right in here, and a little bit, probably a little bit deeper than some of them are. It won't fit in some dreadnought cases, so that tells you that it's wide. But anyhow, I've started on it, and I'm gonna do my B2 process to it, and I've already taken the neck out, and I've put some tuners, the same style tuners that I put some wooden knobs on, made it easier to turn. And I'm going to try that to keep from drilling new holes in it. This old guitar's in pretty good shape. It's about a 69 model, I believe. And it's had a Brazilian rosewood bridge on it. It's one of those that's got the strings attached to it that doesn't have the bridge pins. And so I'll remove that. I took the neck out of it. The body, it had a standard sound hole in it. It's less than 4 inches, and I've already enlarged it. I've got some videos showing how I do that, and I've taken it had ladder braces in it, and I took all them out. I took all the braces out except the very back one. There's a ladder brace right back in the back, and it won't interfere with me putting X braces in it. And I left the one in front of the sound hole too. But we'll brace it like a Martin, similar to a Martin. And what I'm going to try to do on this video is to show my method for rebracing this thing through the sound hole. One thing about the reason that I enlarge the sound hole to 4 inches, I like a Martin size sound hole, but it makes it easier to get in there and do stuff too. But there's a limit to how long a brace you can get through that sound hole physically, and it's on this one it looks like it's about 16.5 inches. So the braces I'm going to put in there are 16 inches long. Here's my template that I've got from a Martin, and we'll use that as a general guide for rebracing this thing. Now these two braces here we won't put in there because we got this one running across. We've got the neck just stuck down in there, and we're going to measure the scale. Here's my little thing I've got made up, my scale measuring deal. It's 2 pieces of plastic the same length, and this is the 12th fret, and so we're going to put a mark here where the saddle goes. Here we are. We got the neck set back in here, got a little piece of masking tape marked on here. Here's our pattern lined up, the front of the saddle lined up where it's going to go, and that's just about the position where we want the bridge to be. Here's a shot of the braces after we shaped them, scalloped them. Now they're going to fit turned backwards from that, but these things are supposed to be the same on each side, so that won't matter. Here's the top after I got the braces in it. It's hard to film putting the braces inside one of these guitars. There's no way to get a camera in there. You barely can get your hand down in there, but we got some braces in it. Got a little pressure on it right now. We got some little homemade clamps that we use. Got another type of homemade clamp that I use. It's got a spring on it. Put some pressure in there. This thing's dried overnight. We got some braces glued in there. I'm going to show you my process of taking these things back out of there. When you got the glue drying and the pressures of getting those braces in the right place, it's hard to film. So you'll just have to take my word for it. You see these braces props in here, you'll know I put them in there. So what I'm going to do is show you the process of taking it back out and some of the stuff I put in there. It's mostly homemade stuff. This is a little jack I made. You crank this thing around and it raises up. I copied it after one that I saw on the internet. It works pretty good. It's kind of bulky, hard to get in there. Now here's a little homemade prop that I made. It's just a spring and a piece of PVC pipe with a little slot in the top of it to help it stay on the braces. And I've got several of those in here. And I've got some other homemade braces that I made out of some of these little clamps. You wouldn't believe how much trouble it is to get those things where they work. They're awful hard to get in there after you've got them made. Sometimes I've used pieces of masonite that I cut to the right length, and you put that in there and wedge it. As I'm sure I've said before, it's not easy to do this through the sound hole, but it's in the alternative is to take the top or the back off of it, and you're destroying a lot of stuff in the process of that. So I've tried to come up with a way to do this through the sound hole. Maybe you can see that aluminum foil down in the bottom of the guitar body. Underneath that are some pieces of plywood that is 1/2 inch plywood that I sawed off and put down in there and taped it in, and then put that aluminum foil on top of it so that I'd have a flat surface to work with. Like I said before, you got a limited amount of time to work with those braces, and it's hard to get them in place, so you need all the help you can get. Here's some little pieces of spruce that we're shaping to make some braces to go on this sound hole. There's that one there. Here's one in the back, and you can see the other one. So we got the sound hole brace. Now we're in the process of making a bridge plate to go in this thing. I realize that we're not putting the little side braces on the outside of the X braces like Martin does. This is not a Martin, and it's not a Harmony really anymore. It's got the Harmony name on it, but it's a Nichols B2 conversion, and we're going to brace it like we want to, and it's not going to be like a Martin or a Harmony, either one. So if all you experts are wondering why it's not like that, that's why. We made this little plastic template to, we've cut it a few times to try to fit it in into position. Here are some pieces of hard maple. These came off of a desk that I bought a few years ago. This was made out of maple, and this wood is over 100 years old, so it should make it's made some good bridge plates before, so I got no reason to think it wouldn't. I'm going to thin it down out here on my machine to 100,000ths of an inch. Alright, we're going to glue this bridge plate in here. Here's a shot of the bridge plate after we got it glued in and dried. I'm going to try to get a shot of this this ink stamp number in this thing. 4693H. That says 1260. The 0 is a little hard to read, but it's a model 1260. That F68, I'm told, means the fall of 1968. Now we're going to concentrate on this neck. I don't know who it is that does this to these necks, but this is not the first one, not the second one, not the third one. I don't know how many of these guitars I've bought, and they all got the same problem. Somebody has cross-grain sanded with about 40 grit. Looks to me like they took a belt sander or something and sanded across the grain, and they just ruined the looks of it. I'm going to get my calipers out and we'll measure the height of the frets. These frets looked awful low, but I measured them and they look like it's got about 45 thousandths left on them. That's about what they are in use. Here's a shot of the old heel cap. It was deteriorated, cracked up, busted off there. And we made a new one put on there out of some thin plastic. Turned out pretty good. Well, I got this neck in my little jig, and it's even at these 4 points that I like to measure. And we're going to adjust this this screw right here. Raise it up. That'll tilt this down, and we can kind of control how much we cut off of this thing. I've shown this before. If you're interested in it, you can go back and watch some of my other videos, but that's what we're doing. The neck needs to be reset. It's the straight edge struck it about halfway down the bridge, and straight edge on top of the fret should come across the top of the bridge, so we've got a little bit to go. Well, we got this neck cut down. We had to go through it several times, cut a little bit at a time, and here goes the. I don't have this bridge glued down, but it's got a little bit of clearance over at the top. I believe that'll be just right. we're going to try to straighten up the mess somebody created with this fingerboard. That's just a crying shame. I don't know what in the world people are thinking. I don't know if you can see the difference on that camera or not, but there's 2 frets I've done. I won't keep this camera running to show doing the rest of them, but that's what I got to do to all of the frets in this fingerboard. Now we're going to put some mineral oil on this fingerboard, and there it is. And we're going to check the set of the neck after the bridge is glued down. Here comes the straight edge, and it's supposed to go just over the top of the bridge, and that's just about as close as I can get one right there. Here's a little shot of the bridge plate after we got the holes drilled in it for the bridge pins. We're going to ream out these holes for the bridge pins, 5-degree bridge pins that I made. We first drilled a 3/16 hole in there. Now these bridge pins, as I said, are dogwood and they're 5 degrees. We got this guitar strung up, put the keys back on it. These are some that I made some different buttons and put on there, some larger buttons, and lubricated them up. And we're working on the pickguard now. This is a Martin style pickguard. I like the shape of it. Here we are with the guitar strung up. Put the old nut back on it. I prefer a bone nut, but that one sure fits good, and I don't know. I think the saddle's important to the sound of it, but I'm not so sure that the nut makes much difference in the sound. I've made a pickguard and put on it, and got it strung up. Now I'm going to work on trying to make these places where I changed the bridge to a Martin style bridge and got the bare spots. But I'm mainly after the sound of this guitar, and I ain't going to hang it on the wall, and I'm not going to put it in a museum, and I'm not going to put it in the guitar building contest. So I just like the tone of it, and I really like the sound of this. I've strung it up, and I'm really pleased with it. Here's a little clip of the finished product. I'm still going to probably put me a B2 emblem on this peg head, but I've got the major part of it done. I touched up these places around the bridge. They're not flawless by any means, but maybe they won't stand out too bad. I'll try to show you what this guitar sounds like. I'm not a good guitar player, don't pretend to be.